Streaming now and make sure it actually starts streaming. Okay.
Gotta put my eyes in.
Alright, yay, okay. Success. So this week we read Fantastic Four number 4. Fantastic Four number 4. The coming of the, how do you say his name? Do you say Submariner or Submariner?
Yeah, I don't know how I would pronounce that. Because it's submarine, but you put an R on there, it should maybe be Submariner.
Yeah. I also don't know how. Like, in my head, I say Submariner just because it's submarine.
Right.
I don't know if that's specifically how you're supposed to say it or not. Anyways.
The sub guy.
The sub guy. I just try to call him Namor, which is probably also not how you pronounce his real name. So this is totally the same guy from the very first comic that we read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks the same too.
Yeah.
Has the same name, Namor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that we got to see the guy that we read about the first comic we read. So we're chapter 1, On the Trail of the Torch. So from last week, the Torch said, screw you guys, I'm going off on my own.
Right.
Which I think was a legitimate thing to do, because they're just not functional as a team, as far as I'm concerned. So the Thing is once again being an ass, and Mr. Fantastic blames him for the Torch leaving, when really it was their whole dysfunctional team of Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Girl enabling the Thing, and none of them working together. And yeah, that's why he left. We're told, is this the first time we're told that they're in New York? Have you seen New York used before?
I've always assumed they were in New York with the tall buildings.
Yeah, I was just trying to think if they ever...
They never said so
which city they were in before.
I just always assumed because the superheroes seem to be based in New York.
Yeah. So we're told they're in New York for the first time, and they use the Fantastic car to search the city, which I'm just saying, I don't know, you could just like walk out the door and grab it. Well, maybe not. It's New York. Maybe traffic's bad. Susan once again uses her invisibility to scare the shit out of some citizens because she wanted a Coke to drink. I don't understand her. While Mr. Fantastic puts lives in danger by pulling a man off of his motorcycle while it's in motion to ask him if he's seen the Human Torch. Who in their right mind does that? That's not a superhero move.
And he ruined the motorcycle. I mean, you can't just go back and get... I mean, you pluck somebody off their motorcycle, man. It's going to hurt them, for one, and two...
Why?
Yeah. I want to talk to you, so I'm just going to just pluck you off your motorcycle and talk to you. Like, no.
When I read that, I was just like, what? Why would he do that? That is so dangerous and terrible. That's like a supervillain move. That's not a superhero move. I love how they refer to he needs to go find some teen-agers. Like, teenagers isn't a word. That's funny. I don't know. I found
that would be a different way of spelling it. Oh, I need to go find some teenagers.
Teenagers.
Yeah. It's a different way of spelling.
I would assume that they hyphenated like that because that word was uncommon for the time. Like, people wouldn't know what a teenager was if you put the whole word together. So if you, like, separated it, they could figure out what you were talking about.
Right.
I don't know. I just noted that it was funny that they...
And now all of a sudden, I thought the Torch was a little older than that, but no, he's a teenager.
Yeah. They called him, like, a kid or something. Like, he's not an adult yet. So I could see why... they would want to go out and find him versus like if an adult just left the team, because I was a little confused about that. It's like he could do whatever he wants. You don't own him, but I mean, if he's a teenager, then you're probably responsible for him. We see Johnny is at the car garage showing off to his friends, and the Thing actually uses common sense to check here first, where everybody else is just running all over the city. It's like, maybe I should go check the only place he hangs out. Okay. But he then ruins all of my goodwill towards him by breaking a hole in the wall.
Instead of using the door. Scaring this dude's friends, and then throwing the car through the wall. Like, oh, you won me with the common sense, and then you lost me with all the damage. Yeah, why are you picking up the car and throwing it through the wall?
Yeah, none of it made sense. I don't... Just his irrational anger, I guess. Then we split to chapter 2, but it continues on. This time, the Thing turns human, but it doesn't seem to be related to his anger level, as he just threatened to rough up Johnny. So, this kind of puts my theory, as in it's not true, that if he calms down, that's when he turns human. Because he just seemed to, like, randomly turn human at this point.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he's like not got any kind of control over it. Oh, and now we start having, I don't know if you noticed on the bottom, now we start getting the preview of what is the Hulk.
On like every freaking page, which I read this I read it in the little panels, not the page view. So,
right.
So like every 10 panels, it's just like a white screen that says, the Hulk is coming. Who is the Hulk? The Hulk. It's like, okay, calm down, chill out. It's all right.
No, on the page view, it's like at the bottom.
Yeah, it's in the bottom
margin.
or
the top.
Yeah.
Margin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very interesting. And I was thinking maybe that could be something we read next, but we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah.
So Johnny uses the distraction of the Thing turning human to fly off. And he hides out in the Bowery. Is that how you say that?
Yeah, the Bowery.
Does that just mean like the bad part of town? Or is that like a specific place?
It is a specific place in New York called the Bowery, and you'll find it in some of the other big cities. And I'll have to go look it up, but it was a known area of town. They don't have it anymore, and then it became like a bad part of town.
Yeah, I think they call it, like, he says where the derelict citizens hang out or something like that.
Yeah, it's where the homeless would go hang out.
Yeah, and he stayed at a men's hotel.
Yeah, that would have been... the Bowery is actually a street and neighborhood in Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
It's the southern portion of Manhattan. And used to be Bowery Lane. So it's on the southern end, and it used to be it used to be a rough neighborhood.
Yeah, so he stays at a men's hotel and finds a Submariner comic book, which, let me jump back 2 comics ago to the Skrulls. They scared the Skrulls off with comic book things, which I was like, that's ridiculous that you don't know made up stuff. But now we're saying there's a comic book of the Submariner in this, universe, and there's actually a Submariner. So maybe those other comics were for real? I don't know.
We're in comic book land, man.
I don't know. It would just give more legitimacy to Mr. Fantastic scaring off the Skrulls with comic book pictures. But anyways, back to this one.
Well, and they're also referring to the comics that they wrote at this point in time. It had been 20 years previous.
Right.
23 years previously, so yeah, it's kind of meta, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. I was kind of like, that's interesting to think about.
That's interesting.
They have comic books of superheroes that are real in their world. I don't know. Which, I mean, I guess so. I'm sure we have comic books of real life people. So he finds the Submariner comic book and also finds the Submariner himself at the men's hotel, who has amnesia. But he gives him a shave with fire and reveals that he's the Submariner. Like, okay.
Yeah, let me just shave your face with fire. Yeah, that's not gonna hurt.
Yeah, not to mention the smell of burning hair is not a good smell. It's not. There was one thing I was gonna say, the guys that were like beating this dude up for no reason. The one has like a cigar in his mouth and he kind of looks like Wolverine, I think. Because I think Wolverine has a cigar. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confusing that. Anyways, that's what I thought. He kind of...
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just that that's the style of hair and facial hair of the time.
Yeah, he was kind of making him look kind of rough, too. And everyone smoked at that point in time, so...
So it wouldn't be...
Smoke, yeah, that wouldn't be...
It wouldn't stand out.
No, not like it does now. So, now you see somebody smoking in it. I see somebody smoking on the screen and I go, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I agree. Nowadays in real life when I see somebody smoking, I'm like, people still smoke? Like, are we over this by now? So chapter 3, Let the World Beware. Mr. Fantastic just cannot follow the rules of look, don't touch in this issue and grabs a helicopter to ask them if they have seen the Human Torch. And their response is like, are you guys for real? We heard of you, but we never saw you. Thanks for like grabbing our helicopter in midair. Then stretches to a train car and freaks out those people as well. One says he'll need to see an eye doctor after this. Like, I feel like the Fantastic Four just goes around the city terrorizing its citizens, which makes me think they're villains and not superheroes.
Right.
The invisible girl almost finds Johnny. Maybe if she actually tried looking around instead of drinking soda invisibly, she could find her brother.
He's like right behind you.
Right behind her. Oh, yes. So, yeah, she doesn't find him either. The torch takes the Submariner to the ocean to restore his power and mind. Now, I'm going to assume that he had never heard of the Submariner before reading that random comic book at the men's hotel. But if he did, wouldn't he realize the Submariner's not a good guy? And maybe we don't want him to have his memory back?
Yeah, like what's up with that? Why did you restore his memory when he wants to kill all the humans?
Right. So, Namor gets his...
But then again, Johnny's a teenager, and teenagers are irrational.
Yeah, and they probably also, he's probably empathizing with him, like, yeah, people treat you like crap, and I'm gonna help you.
Right.
And so Namor goes home to find it destroyed by nuclear tests, and once again declares war on all humanity. Now, if he was in other comics we haven't read, we don't really know how many times he's declared war on humanity, but this is at least the second time he's declared war on humanity.
He spent 23 years in the Bowery.
Yeah. We saw him in that first comic, and then he was there for the whole time. We don't know anything else that happened. Chapter 4, The Submariner's Revenge. So, he comes back up to land after going and checking out his house, and I guess Johnny's just stood on the docks this entire time. Johnny then shoots a flare and calls the four, who try to beat the crap out of Namor, but of course, he is stronger than all of them and escapes to waken a sea monster with a buried horn and leads it to New York.
Yeah, I'm digging the things like Speedo bikini thing going on there.
Oh yeah, so the thing has like hot pants for his uniform now.
And boots.
And
boots and hot pants.
Yeah.
Like that's all they can get him into.
Like probably after the 6th suit that Susan, meticulously hand sewed for hours that he ripped apart, she's like, I'm just making you hot pants from now on. If you rip those, it's like 2 pieces of fabric. It's fine. We'll just sew them back together. So the monster, I just want to say the monster looks very depressed or like mentally ill. I mean, he's been asleep for thousands of years or something and then got woken up by a horn, but he just does not.
What'd you wake me up for, man?
He does not look happy. The torch gets put out by its water spout, and Mr. Fantastic saves him, which, once again, I will point out the only times that Mr. Fantastic has actually done anything useful is, like, saving the torch when he falls. The Thing straps a nuke to his back, and here I am at this point. There is so much nuclear everything in this world that, like, the whole world would be covered in fallout by this point. Like, it seems like everybody has a nuclear weapon in their backyard. and that's how we solve all problems, is nuclear weapons.
With nuclear weapons, right.
Yeah. So, we will just put on hold that the world's probably covered in nuclear fallout by this point. He sneaks into...
Apparently we didn't know about nuclear fallout in 1962.
Yeah. The Thing sneaks into the monster's mouth while it's asleep with this nuclear weapon. So I'm assuming they just let it destroy the city for, 5 hours till it wore itself out, and then it just had a little nap on the side of the ocean.
And then he crawls into his mouth and into his stomach.
Yeah, where there's another sea monster inside this thing's stomach that the Thing has to fight. But he gets the bomb in there and gets out before it explodes. Susan tries to steal the monster calling horn, but she's an idiot that doesn't use her powers correctly and gets caught. And to top it off, she has to get hit on by Namor, who nice guys himself. Like, I'm such a nice guy. Why wouldn't you want to marry me and come live in my sea kingdom? For so many reasons, Namor, she does not want you. But he says that he will let humanity live if Susan, this lady he met 2 minutes ago, marries him and is the queen of his kingdom.
I'll do anything. I'll become your bride. Yeah, right.
Yeah. The Thing and Mr. Fantastic try to fist fight him again, having not learned their lesson previously when they got the crap beat out of him. But Johnny ends up making a tornado and sucks up Namor and the monster and dumps them in the deepest part of the sea with the horn that gets lost for all eternity, they say. The Thing points out, this is a point towards the Thing, once again, hey, maybe we shouldn't let these evil villains just go. But Mr. Fantastic, once again, sticks to his character of like, oh, we're too great. There's nothing to worry about. They won't be back. Not that you made an enemy for life. Just like, it's fine. They won't return. It's okay. Yeah, and we get a pinup of Mr. Fantastic at the end, and the Hulk is mentioned in every friggin' margin, enough to make you want to never read the Hulk.
The Hulk is coming.
The Hulk is coming.
You've never seen anyone like the Hulk.
Definitely not
the
Thing.
Who is the Hulk? Yeah.
So, once again, I think this villain has proved that the Fantastic Four's powers suck. That Johnny is the best of the Fantastic Four, and the only one with, like, a brain in his head. The Thing, for punching through a wall, wasn't as angry as he was in the other ones. He never got a stretchy hug from Mr. Fantastic in this one. So...
that's too bad, man.
I know. We were on a stretchy hug roll. Definitely.
But, Mr. Fantastic was busy, giving stretchy hugs to motorcycles and helicopters and
how do you take a man off of a motorcycle to just ask a question?
Right. So the sea monster stomach is kind of interesting when we have this, and it's in this panel here, and he's got remains in his stomach, in the sea monster stomach. There are the remains of long since forgotten ancient vessels, ocean craft, which had fallen victim to Giganto long ages ago. And you could see them all in the background there. And like, man, how come the stomach acid didn't get to it? What is wrong with your stomach, man?
I mean, he's got a big sea monster living inside of his stomach.
Yeah, like... what is wrong with your digestive system?
it's its own ecosystem inside of his stomach. I like the little I guess it's a Viking ship. It kind of looks like the Nessie the sea monster one.
Yeah. And the sailing vessels back there, with the little bird's nest, what do they call it? The crow's nest of the boat.
Yeah.
That thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was like, okay. And now your time bomb is ticking, and
I feel like the monster inside the monster, they could have cut that and had something else. That was such a throwaway thing. We're like, oh, there's a monster and I gotta fight him. But he only fought him for one panel, and it wasn't.
And he gets run away from and it boomed, and he almost gets killed, and
So that was kind of odd. I think I still stand by that Johnny's my favorite. That he doesn't cause any collateral damage. He doesn't scare or injure citizens. He usually is the one to actually fight the bad guys. So he's the most competent one. The rest of them are crap.
But yeah, the Invisible Girl, though, when she goes, I'm looking at that, I'm going, well, how did she get the drink? Did she just steal someone's drink and start sipping on it? Or did she order it and then go invisible? Or
tell me about it. Yeah. Okay. Your brother, who is not an adult, who's a teenager, has just angrily fled. He's a Human Torch who maybe, is still new to his power somewhat, so who knows if he has actual control. You're searching the city specifically for him, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to take a little break and have a Coke at the soda fountain and scare the shit out of some dude who's just, trying to enjoy his drink. Because, you can't become visible to get a drink. Okay, whatever. Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that.
But how did she, or if she was invisible, how did she order it?
Exactly. Yeah, either she was visible and went invisible, which makes her a jerk, or she stole it from somebody, and that also makes her a jerk. She's not a good person.
There's a plot hole there.
Yeah.
We need that filled.
I don't know why she's got to always scare people. And at this point, it's definitely not accidental. You've got to realize you're invisible, and you doing stuff as an invisible woman is going to scare people.
Right.
So
and you should just save your scaring people to
the bad guys. And she never scares the bad guys. The bad guys are like, oh, you're invisible? Let me catch you anyway.
And ask you to marry me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Don't you want to rule my sea kingdom that's been attacked by nuclear weapons?
It's pretty, just really violent. I mean, why are you beating up on people? Always just... And the thing is calling him a brat and stuff, and I'll cage him and he can stay hidden, and he's just Mr. Grumpy Pants,
Yeah. The fact is Johnny is the most adult out of all of them. He's the most responsible. He's got a job working on cars. He doesn't cause any damage. He knows.
And he's figured out how to turn the flame off and on, and he used his flame to,
weld stuff and
try to help the Submariner, even though that didn't work out very well.
Yeah, it's just he's the best one. And yeah, I really don't think he needs the other three. They're pretty much crap.
So there's a fantastic, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's the Fantastic Four movie that was shot in 2005 on Disney Plus. Did you watch it?
I watched it when it came out originally, and I was not impressed.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed either. But I'm watching it and I'm going, because now I've been watching and I watched Captain America and everything, and I'm like looking at the actor playing Johnny Storm, and I'm going, that looks like Captain America.
Oh, is it?
It's the same actor.
Oh.
The 2005 one?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The one that was shot in 2005 and the sequel, Chris Evans plays Johnny Storm.
Yeah, I think they're going to redo the Fantastic Four. I think eventually in the future. So they'll probably recast him, but I'm trying to. I just remembered it not being very good, but I think they made Johnny like more like the Thing, like he was erratic and like hot-headed and and it's like that's the Thing. I'm on Johnny's side in the comics. It's like he's the best one. He's the only legitimate hero among all of these people. So, but overall, I think this is probably the best issue so far, I think, of the Fantastic Four. There weren't too many plot holes. They're all idiots, but they're all idiots in all of them, so can't hold that against it. So, I liked it. It was okay. So, did you have any other final thoughts on it?
No, that's it.
I did want to say that there's a scene where they're like, let's find the teenagers, and they like show a bunch of teenagers, and they all look like middle-aged professional responsible adults.
Well, okay, so in 1962 you would still have dressed you still would have dressed up when you were out. You would not wear a t-shirt outside.
Yeah.
You would have worn, like a button-down shirt and a khaki pants or whatever kind of pants, and maybe a tie as well, depending on where you were working. In that time period, still ladies wore hats and gloves, especially when they went to church, at least, or when they went anywhere fancy, out to dinner or whatever. They were still wearing hats and gloves. If you go look at pictures of Jackie Onassis, and she always wore that, hat and
super fancy
gloves. Even just walking down the street, like you're just going to go to the hairdresser or whatever, you would still get dressed up to go out of your house. You would not leave house dressed. I think my grandmother would probably have a fit if she's I go just slopping around in my t-shirt and shorts. They didn't. No, they didn't dress like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the way they're dressed, that is kind of the way people dressed. The teenagers would have dressed, or the teenagers had. That was before the Bowery scene, right?
Yeah, it was while Mr. Fantastic was looking for them.
Yeah.
Or no, it's what the Invisible Girl was looking for them. Which, like right before the soda scene. It's right before the soda scene. It's like a redhead and a brunette. And
and he's wearing a tie and a bow hat, and one's wearing a hat. Yeah, that's the way they. Yeah.
Super fancy out on the town.
He wore a hat, and gloves and the whole thing, and hose, and.
So I looked at the when comics came out, and it seems like all of
the Marvel superheroes we know today, they all started coming out at this time. So, like, 63, 64, 65, you've got the Hulk, you've got the Avengers, you've got Iron Man, you've got Spider-Man. Like, they all came out at the end of the 60s. So, I've been talking about, like, if we wanted to jump to something in the 70s, but really, like, everything in the 70s is going to be in the middle of these things, like, issue 200s or whatever. So I didn't know if maybe, like, obviously they want us to buy the Hulk in this one if we wanted to do the Hulk, or if we wanted to do a different superhero. But unless we want to jump to when they started restarting the superheroes, like in the 2000s when they redid them, then we're gonna have to stick to the 60s when they first.
Well, that's fine.
Appeared.
I was just moving to let's try a different superhero.
Okay.
Hulk is fine since we just got, spammed.
But
teased, I guess, is a better word.
Yeah. The before internet pop-up ads. Check out the Hulk.
Who is the Hulk? What is the Hulk?
Don't you want to know? Don't you want to know about the Hulk?
Then again, Hulk has anger management issues.
I know. But he does have, like, an alter ego, Bruce Banner, who does... His anger issues are seen as a negative. Like, he wants to overcome them. Where I feel like the Thing, nobody is working on his mental health at all. It's just, we're going to put up with him being an asshole to everybody, breaking walls all the time.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe the Hulk will be better, where it's like, no, this is not acceptable behavior. We want to try to undo this.
The Hulk is kind of interesting, if I remember correctly, because I watched it. They had a television series on the Hulk back in the 70s.
With Lou
that I used to watch. Yeah. We used to watch after school, if I remember correctly. It was in color, so it wasn't black and white. So it would have been more 70s type thing. And it wasn't a cartoon, it was live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was with Lou Ferrigno.
I haven't seen it. I just know about it from the movie. I think it's called I Love You, Man. Where the guy, he runs into, like, Lou Ferrigno, and he calls him the Hulk, and he's like, don't call me the Hulk, and he, like, gets beat up by him. So that's the only way I know about it. I haven't seen the show.
I don't know where it is anymore, but
I'm sure it's on some streaming platform.
It's on some streaming platform somewhere or another. I'm surprised Disney hasn't gone and bought it.
I'm sure it's in the works. I'm sure everything on Earth is in the works to be bought by Disney. They will own everything eventually.
Okay, so we're gonna read the Hulk?
Issue number 1. I think the Hulk's 1962. That would make sense because they're introducing it now. So,
let me look at go back home. I want to look at series, browsing the series, because they have them. Come on, you get seasick watching these things scroll past. Whee! Doctor Strange. I haven't watched that movie yet, but it looks interesting.
Doctor Strange is a good movie.
Just because I have a crush on Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. It's weird to hear him with an American accent. Like, the first time I watched the movie in theaters, it's just, like, disturbing. Like, why do you sound like that?
Really? Alright, I'm in the H's now. Not to the U yet. Oh, Howard. They have Howard the Duck.
I feel like if they're advertising it this much, they should link it at the end of this comic. Jerks.
Well, they have Hulk in 1999. Hulk and Thing, 2004.
I think maybe does it say the Incredible Hulk?
Oh, yeah, it was the Incredible Hulk. Hulk thing, Hulk Broken World. I don't see it. That's why I'm glad I looked this up. Because this is
they
all
have
too.
it.
Yeah, it must be I think it's the Incredible Hulk.
Let's see if I can.
Yes, Incredible Hulk, 1962.
1962. Okay. They do have it.
Yeah. That's the one that started in 62 to 99, and then looks like they restarted it.
Yeah, I think they redid all of them.
Starting in 2011 or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Starting in the 2000s, sometimes they started to redo all of the series.
Yeah. Yeah. Incredible Hulk, 1962 to 1999. Okay. Let's see what the first one is. Number 1.
The Strangest Man of All Time.
All right. Add it to my library.
Okay.
Go ahead and add the next 4 to my library.